Hey everyone, welcome to Founders 365 with me, Steven Haggerty. Today I'm joined by Matt McAllen. He is founder of Your Hero Life. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, all good. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. And again, a last minute guest. That's one of my big downfalls of doing this challenge is people just drop out.
Yeah. Well, it's meant to be, I suppose. And
Yeah.
some of the best things happen at last minute, unplanned. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Listen, I'm very happy you've stepped up and filled the spot. So again, thank you for that. Let's jump straight into this, and I want to know how you got to where you are now. Like, what's the story? Because there's always a story.
There is always story. I don't know if we've got long enough to tell my whole story. I think we've only got like half hour or so.
I was born in 19.
Yeah. So okay, I'll start with my business side. So
Yeah,
I class myself as a serial entrepreneur, but fantastic at failing at being a serial entrepreneur.
yeah. Great.
I started off selling sports gear down at Romford Market when I was 15. I've opened up a letting agency, a property management company. I've had a high street letting agency. I grew one of the biggest online letting agency and sold that. And had a comparison website, and then what did I have? A delivery company as well that had about 7 or 8 vans. All of them, bar one, is still standing today. They had roughly a joint debt of probably about 100 grand, 120 grand between all of them that they sunk with. So, serial entrepreneur of doing all that. But I think the moment it spun round for me was probably about this time last year, maybe a little bit earlier, back end of 2018. And I've been dealing with this issue for quite a number of years. Well, probably 17 years, probably since the age of 16 was when I started it. And I had a secret addiction, and that addiction was to cocaine.
Wow.
Now, a lot of people, when you talk about drugs and addiction, they think of someone curled up in a corner in a crack house somewhere.
Yeah,
shivering. Living life by, thieving by day, high by night. And that just wasn't the case for me. It was literally, and I wasn't on it every day. It was a social drug. It was when I was out, I was on it. And I've been doing that for a number of years while I was doing business. And I always thought that I could make it successfully while still doing this.
It wasn't a problem.
It wasn't a problem. I was doing it Friday night, Saturday night, Sundays, maybe midweek I'll have a night out as well. But I wake up the next day, I might be in a hungover state, but I still went to work, still done the things that I needed to do. Was I performing at my peak level? No, I wasn't. Nowhere near performing at my peak level.
At that time, did you know you weren't, or did you think you were?
Oh, I knew I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do. But the things that I was doing, I knew I was doing well at. But I was putting stuff off. I was procrastinating on stuff because I was in a hungover state. I was putting things off. So, I did kind of know that. But I still thought I could still get there on the level that I was at.
At what point did you start to realize then that you went, oh, actually, maybe I should stop doing this. Maybe this isn't a good idea.
That was every Monday morning.
Every Monday, bugger. That was the last weekend.
Yeah, it'd always be that it was. I used to live for the Mondays. It'd be like Monday would be new. It'd be a new week, new me. This is where I start. This is where it'd be the new me. I'll get back into my fitness. And I wasn't too bad on my fitness. I was up and down on it. But it got to a point where, I was married quite young and I had kids quite young as well. And it wasn't that I was never doing it around my kids. It was only when I used to go out.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where my relationship started breaking down with my ex-wife. And then I moved out of the house, moved into a 1-bedroom caravan, like one of those little mobile caravans that sits in the back of someone's car. It was like literally 2 berth, but literally you couldn't have 2 people living there. It was 4-1. And that was on a site in Collie Road somewhere. And I lived there for like 7 months, all through winter, and it was harsh and lonely, and very lonely. And it was a dark time for me then. I went through quite severe depression. got to the point of nearly like thinking about committing suicide on several occasions. And I managed to get myself out of that by speaking to a counsellor and going to see someone.
Yeah.
And it took me a while. It took me about 6 months to get out of that and get me back on track. And I had my company that was going under. So I had to get rid of that and I had to start fresh again. So I started as my brother introduced me as a health and safety consultant. So I started doing that and got myself out of that hole I was in, being in a caravan and so forth. But I still would not kick the drugs. It was my escape.
Oh, wow. So you're still doing that then?
I was still doing that. Yeah. It was my escapism. It was, and I didn't realize how much I was dependent on it as it being an escapism. Not to wake up doing it, but to get to the end of the day, and I've got nothing to do now. Oh, let's go down the pub. And then as soon as you get down the pub, bang, it's like it's all around. Was it
so do you think it was the environment you were in terms of like friendship circles and just the people you hung out with?
100%. They say you become your 5 closest friends.
Yeah.
But that's whether it's your attitude, whether it's your action taking, whether it's your the money you're producing, you are the average of your 5 closest friends. And that's what I was. It's about, and I've got nothing against my friends. I love them to bits, but they wasn't doing me any justice. They wasn't doing me good. And it wasn't until I said to myself, right, I'm going to have a month of no alcohol. Because what I realized was the drugs came with the alcohol.
Yeah, it's like social smoking, right?
Yeah, exactly the same. And some of your listeners are probably saying not understanding this, but it's like if I had a pint of beer, by the second pint, I'd already bought some gear and I was in the toilet. You know, it came part of the cycle, and I'd been doing this for the last 17 years. So I said, you know what? Let's quit the drink, and I did. I'd done it for a week with no drink. A month with no drink, and actually that lasted 6 weeks. And I was like, wow, and I felt amazing after that 6 weeks. I felt like
a new man.
I felt like a new man. I was waking up on a Sunday going gym. I was like, I've never done that on a Sunday before.
The gym was probably like, wait a minute, you've had your membership for 17 years and you haven't come in once.
and the ideas that was coming to me, and things were just flowing. Things were falling into place. I was getting these ideas, and then by the next week, this idea, it blossomed, and I was like, wow, it was just everything was coming together. So after that 6 weeks. It took me a while to go back out on the drink. It took me about another 2. I had a beer at home and that, but I went out one night, had a drink, went down the path of doing gear as well. And I was like, you know what? I've had enough of this. I've really had enough. And probably took me 2 more nights that I went out, and I got to the point where I was sick of it. Like literally, I woke up the next day and I was so angry. I was like, I've had enough of this controlling me. This is it. And that was the 30th of June. 2019 that I'd done my last bit of drugs. Amazing. And I haven't done any since.
Congratulations, dude. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. And I say that like it's some I don't celebrate it's like one big celebration. And some people look at me, well, Matt, it's like half a year. I was like, yeah, but you've got to remember I was doing that for 17 years, you know. That's a long time for me.
Yeah.
And in that realization of going from the caravan to getting to June last year, I'd always done self-help. I'd always, like, ever since I was probably the age of 20, Tony Robbins, I had this 30-day Unleash the Giant Within program. Someone gave it to me and I got hooked onto that. And that's the funny thing. I'm doing all this self-help while still doing drugs, thinking that I could do both of them together and I was going to come out the other end. And it was once I got rid of it, and I'm now in a position now where I just want to help other guys. There is so much potential out there in men. And I know there's potential in women as well, but I think there's not enough help for men. You know, we've got 85 guys per week taking their life.
Yeah.
Because they can't deal with the crap that's been thrown in front of them. And I couldn't deal with mine. And I got rid of mine by going down the pub and doing drugs and drinking. Yeah. And
during that 17 years, if I can go back a little bit, what do you think would have pulled you out other than, because you went through, ended up in a caravan, marriage breakdown. Most people would really struggle to get through that, right? No matter who they are.
Yeah.
And you got through it while still having this addiction, which is like insane, really, if you think about it. But what else do you think could have came up for you to be like a wake up call?
Okay, so I knew I had this issue, but once I stopped doing it, I still felt I wasn't being honest. And it was only until I shown my vulnerability and started telling other people what I've been dealing with the last 17 years.
Yeah.
And my brother knew what I'd been going on, not to the extent of how much I was doing it, but he knew I had been doing it. And I had to make some phone calls. I was like, because I was ready to tell the world. I was ready to get on social media and literally put a video out there. I even got this idea of calling it the Max Cocaine Memoirs. Okay. And I did.
Like Cocaine Cowboys, but Matt edition.
I was gonna release it on Facebook, and I did release it. But before I'd done that, I thought there's people I need to talk to first. Yeah. I've got two sons. One's 12, one's 14. They're open. They're on Facebook. I've got my mum who's on Facebook. So the first person was the phone was my mum, and she's been a drugs counsellor for since I can remember.
You can't write the stuff. You literally can't write it.
So she was a youth counsellor, drugs counsellor, a child psychotherapist, and so I phoned her up and I told her, and she was like, she goes, "Oh, I didn't even know." I said, "Are you sure you didn't know?" She went, "No." I said, "Seriously?" I said, of the 17 years, all those times I used to like stumble in the house at 5 or 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I was sitting there paranoid thinking you're going to clock me because you're a drugs counselor, and you didn't know once. She went, "No, I didn't know once."
But it was your normal, wasn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, well, that was it. Yeah, and so yeah, she was very shocked. She goes, "Look, Matt," she goes, "Do I agree with what you've done? No, but it's got you to where you are now." She's very much into the spiritual meditation world, so she believes everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
and she goes, "It's not the path that I would have chosen for you, but it's the path that you went down, and that's the reason why you're here today, doing what you're doing."
Great support, then.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, very supportive of my mum. And then she said, "So you need to tell the boys." I was like, "You don't want them finding out by online." And also, I'm not stirring the pot with my ex-wife as well because she could cause issues.
Yeah,
with this.
tricky situation possible.
Yeah. So it just came up with a conversation with my son. Well, I've got one who lives with me and one that lives with his mum, and the one who lives with me, he's the youngest and he's 12, and he goes to like stand-up speakers academy with me. So he's quite open to I've had issues and things, but he's never known about the drug situation. And he looked at me and he was in shock. It was that look on his face of just, it's like seeing your hero for the first time and they're a total disappointment. And when I saw that look, I was like, that's it. I can't go back. I can never go back. Oh, it was heart-wrenching. The disappointment on his face, it was just, I just brought a tear to my eye, and I just looked at him. I said, "You know what? I promise you now, I swear to you now on your life that I'm never going back there."
Yeah.
And I won't ever go back there. I've been out with my friends now while they're still doing it. And I said, "No, I'm not interested in that. I'm really not." And
so 30th of June, new page, 1st of July, you wake up, the new Matt.
Yeah.
The new mission, the new purpose. Talk to you about how the last, 9 months have been in terms of what you've been doing, what you've been building, and what you want this to become.
Yeah. So a little bit before that date, and obviously going after that, I started. I went to a place called Stand Up Speakers Academy.
Yeah, Mr. Luke
Scott. With Luke Scott, that's right. Yes. Great old Luke Scott. So, and I found that place on my 6 weeks of coming off the booze.
Okay.
So I woke up one Saturday. I was like, I've got nothing to do. I've got no kids, and I've got nothing to do. I want to do speaking. So I found an event, went there, met them, and I was like, wow. This is a bit of me. I like being on stage. I like talking, and I like talking normally when I haven't got drugs fueling my conversation. You
like remembering the conversation, basically.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So going to that place there was amazing because I started networking with people that I would never have met before. There's people sitting there talking about angels and other people talking about natural stone healing and all this other fantastic, amazing stuff that, it doesn't float my boat, some of it, but it was just good to connect with different types of people that I would never have found down the pub. And when I was down there, that's when I started thinking, well, this is what I want to do. You know, I've gone through my life experience of what I am now. And Luke said, Matt, use this. He says, you've gone through a life experience. You're coming out the other side. Yes, you've literally only just come out the other side, but use it to your advantage.
No time like the present.
No, exactly that. And he said, there's so many other guys out there that are going to need your help. He said, because they're suffering. There are men, average men, who are not exposed to spirituality, to meditation, to journaling, to sitting inside. No, they're not exposed to any of that. And they're living their life by working, family, pub, or whatever order that goes in for them.
Yeah.
You know, most of them is working, pub, family, you know.
Or pub, work, pub, family.
That's it. Yeah. And then seeing their kids every other weekend.
Yeah.
So I started looking at this hero life, and I was like, people need to start stepping into their hero journey, start becoming their own, start creating their own movie scripts. You know, we've all got these powers that we can harness and locate and just start bringing into our lives if we just have a little bit of focus, a little bit of guidance, and something to strive for.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you want to, what are you building then? What are you want to help these men? How do you want to help them? What's the avenue you're using to get people out of those situations when they're in they've got those bad habits, whether they know it or they don't, they're going through those processes of work, pub, family.
Yeah.
Where does Matt come into this? Where do you come in and like pull them out and be like, let's get you to where you want to be?
Okay, so there's 3 points that I start off with. Firstly is I cut through the BS. At the end of the day, you are where you are due to your life decisions, the choices you have made. Take responsibility for your own shit. Yeah? I don't care what's happened to you. Yes, shit happens, and some people get dealt a bad hand. But as soon as we take responsibility for where we are now, we are then in a position of power when we can change the outcome.
Yeah.
And as soon as I get people realizing that and stop blaming everyone else, they're like, wow, now I can fix it. So, okay, now you've realized you can fix it. These are the 3 things that I try and I focus on, because it's all my I suppose my mission, my tagline as it is simple self-help for men.
Nice.
And that's what it is.
Yeah. People overcomplicate it, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Massively.
And what I tell people is keep it simple, stupid. It's like when you overthink it, the military, I forgot to mention I was in the Royal Marines Reserves for an element of this as well. So keep it simple, stupid is a terminology they used to use when you start overthinking and worrying. And that's what I try. Keep it simple, stupid. And when we talk about the 3 elements they need to look at, the first one is a vision or a purpose or some sort of goal. It doesn't need to be a life goal. It doesn't need to be the goal that's going to define the rest of your life. It just needs to be a goal, something to work at, whether it's your body, whether it's your health, whether it's your business, whether it's improving your finances, finding a partner, improving your relationship with your partner, your kids, whatever. Find yourself a goal. Once you find yourself a goal, you then need to start deciphering your self-talk, because once we've found our goal, I tell you what, fear takes over and everyone talks himself out of it.
100%.
They've had this breakthrough of an idea come through and this dream, and within 5 minutes they've talked themselves out of it, and it's definitely not going to happen, and there's no chance it will ever happen. And people, especially, again, I'm going to go back to the average guy, doesn't decipher their self-talk. And I'd go through that by journaling, by sitting in silence, questioning. Questioning is a massive one. Just question why you're making the decisions you're making. Why did you decide to turn that TV on? Why did you decide to watch Netflix? Why did you decide to eat that chocolate bar? Why did you decide to go down the pub? Just question it. And you can still go down the pub. Go do it. But all I'm asking is question it and then find an answer to it. Because I'm telling you, it's not just to have that pint. You are hiding away from something, or, not wanting to turn up to something. So that's one element. So vision, purpose, goal, then deciphering your self-talk, and then it's action taking.
Yeah, the important bit.
Yeah. I tell you what, if you just turned up every day and took one small step, you would eventually get there.
Yeah.
The problem people have is they see the end goal that they want to create, then they look at all the miles in between, and they're like, wow, that's a long journey.
100%. One podcast every day, long journey.
Exactly. You're doing it yourself. You're living proof of it. And it is literally just turn up, do what you got to do, and then you're done. It doesn't have to be. And even when you turn up, you don't have to put 100% in. Even if you turn up and put 50% in, it's 50% more than you would have done if you hadn't turned up.
Yeah.
And that's what people, even on the crap days that you feel ill, you're unwell, you're hungover, turn up, do the 50% and keep working towards your goal.
For sure.
And I've
been ill for the past 3 weeks, and yet still podcast every day.
Yeah. And that's due to, that's because you had a goal and a vision.
It's because I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
It is. No, I mean, I completely agree with you. It's but what I love is that you're making it simple, right? Because I see so much online from coaches and other people. I've been in the coaching industry for like 4 or 5 years now, and I see people trying to reinvent the wheel. And it's like, you don't need to, right? You need to ride the wheel. You need to make sure that wheel is going in the right direction. Other than that, you don't need to reinvent it. It works.
No. At the end of the day, we are all kind of talking about the same stuff.
Yeah.
Some people go a little bit more spiritual and a bit more intellectual through the mind, and how the mind works and everything. But we are all talking about the same stuff. And people will listen to the same information, but better off a different person.
Whoever they resonate with.
Exactly.
In the sort of since you've been going on this path, who have you been? Who has like come into your vibe then? Who's been coming into your sort of circle? Have you been attracting certain types of men, or is it literally like any man and his dog?
It's been any man and his dog, to be fair. And to be honest, even though I advertise that it's only for men, the amount of women that have connected to me as well.
It's the Essex charm.
Sorry?
It's the Essex charm, that.
It must be the Essex charm. Must be. But yeah, and I've got no problem working with or giving advice to women. I won't work with them one-to-one as such, but I'll give them advice.
Yeah.
What I really want as well is actually the women that have got men in their lives that struggle to connect, struggle to open up, and don't know how to help them or fix them. It's I say my podcast it's just send them my way, but they don't even have to talk to me. Just listen and read, watch my content.
Just absorb.
Just absorb, and you will get to a point when you think, you know what, I'm going to connect. I'm going to send that message. I'm going to see what you can do for me. But every man and his dog. And to be fair, most of it has been working class guys, and that's probably down to my background.
Normal bloke.
Yeah. The normal standard bloke. I haven't had many, chief executives of big corporate companies turn up on my doorstep as yet.
Not yet. But it's open. Matt is open to you guys.
That is it. Yeah, I am. I'm open to it.
There's a fair few CEOs that listen to this, so you might get your first one.
As I said, I've got 3 points. I've got, owning your shit. Then you've got the 3 elements of your goal, your self-talk, and then your action. And then I've got my 3rd element, which I've literally just been bringing in over the last month. And this is what I've taken off Wim Hof. So I'm a practitioner of the Wim Hof method.
Yeah.
And I'm now using his breathing techniques and his cold exposure on my clients as well.
For those that don't know about the Wim Hof method, give me a 30-second blurb.
Okay, so Wim Hof, his nickname is the Iceman. He's done loads of stupid things with ice, bathing in it.
He is crazy.
He's done a marathon Antarctica barefoot. Anyway, he's a crazy guy, but his methods are unbelievable. So the breathing technique is a technique that you do, takes about 10 minutes, and it's quick breathing, 30 seconds. You hold it for as long as you can, and then you do a quick breathe for 30 seconds, hold it as long, and then you do that. You repeat that 3 times. And afterwards, you get this connection that goes through your body. It is like a natural high. You feel like, for anyone that's had a smoked a joint before, it'll be exactly the same as that. You get this sensationally really buzzy over your hand. And I don't condone smoking weed or anything like that, but it's exactly the same sort of feeling. And your mind is just so open to ideas and so connected. And the stress levels, it brings your stress levels down dramatically.
Yeah.
I guarantee my results. That's how confident I am in this. I'll guarantee relieving you of your anxiety, relieving you of your stress, and finding your vision. through just doing the breathing techniques. So that's the breathing. The cold exposure, well, that's a game changer. Who likes jumping in cold water? No one. So what the cold exposure does, it gives you the ability to control your self-talk before you do something that you're fearful of. And it's only, you know, it's not going to kill you, but you still don't like being in there. So you do that. Once you get in there, then it's about controlling your mind around the ability of withstanding fear and stress for a prolonged period of time, whether it be a minute, 2 minutes, and not dancing around, prancing around, screaming, but it's just standing there firm and just feeling that coldness. And then when you get out of that shower, you will feel so alive. It's unreal. Yeah, the ideas that will come to your mind. I've had some of my best ideas after getting out or just standing there in the cold shower, and these ideas just keep popping up. And that's helped me in my running, calming myself down. When I get stressed at work, I can just bring my focus down to the breath and just go stand in the cold.
Amazing. Matt, I feel like there must be a book in you then. You must be writing a book.
I have got some ideas for a book. I don't know if the world's ready for Matt's stories of his memoirs of his life.
Do it, man. No one's ever ready, right? That's what they say.
Yeah, there is that. I've got an idea of an action book, which is because I'm very aware not all guys are connected on the phones and everything else, and it's, I don't know, it's like it's gonna. I'm picturing like a little mini exercise book where when someone's feeling something or about to do something, they can question it and go to this book and get an answer for what that actually is, or an app, or an app they can get to. So something like that. So something they could hold in their pocket, or you can go on their phone and they can get an answer to it. But there's something there.
Of course, there's something there. I look forward to seeing that come out. Matt, listen, my last question here, and you kind of already answered it with your three focuses actually, but it's my last question to all my guests is, if you could give 3 tips to that normal bloke that is perhaps going through a rough time, what would those 3 tips be to sort of help them get out of that and start that new chapter of their life?
Okay, if they're struggling and they're doing the same old thing and they know they're doing that, it's not right for them, is question it. Just question why you're doing it. Get it out on paper. Don't question it in your mind. Get it out of your head and let the thoughts run on a piece of paper and just see what keeps turning up, because the same things will keep turning up, and that's when they will highlight themselves, and you'll be able to think, oh, okay, I'm doing it for that. Yeah. The other thing as well is meditation or sitting in silence, however you want to read it. People have got, meditation, the word meditation, it's got a big stigma behind it. Some people, they look at it think it's monks in a cave somewhere, or hippies.
You got to shave your head.
Yeah. You ain't got to do none of that. Just go sit in silence and go find an app like Calm or Breathe. They do like a 7-day subscription and just go meditate 5-10 minutes a day.
Brain.fm. It's a great one.
Unbelievable, that is. And it gives you the ability to reset your mind. Every computer needs to have a reset now and again. Try resetting your mind, and that will just open you up and give you the ability to keep journaling and writing your thoughts down. Then after that is action. Take action. Take something. Do something. Do not just sit there. And when I say take action, I don't mean going back down the pub and going to pick up that pint or going down Burger King and eating that meal, or what. Go do something that's going to take you towards your goal or what you want to achieve. If you know that you need to fix something, figure out how to fix it. Own your shit and then go do something to fix it. Yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. Matt, thank you so much for coming on. If anyone wants to get in touch with you directly, what's the best way for them to do that?
So on Facebook, I've got the Facebook page, which is Your Hero Life. You can also find me on Instagram, Your Hero Life, and my website, which is yourherolife.com.
Funny, that is weird. How funny, they're all the same name.
Yeah. And the podcast as well, Your Hero Life.
Your Hero Life. There we go. Listen, Matt, thank you so much for coming on. You've been guest number 63 on Founders 365. This has been Steven Haggerty with Matt McAllen on Founders 365. Thanks everyone for watching.
Lovely. Thanks, Steven. Much appreciated.
Cheers, Matt. Bye.
Thank you.